Right here, I was going by the scoreboard, which is a little off, so I just wanted to make sure that people knew that. It is, but I was going by that one for the room. All right, welcome. We're going to open the meeting and start off with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so thank you for coming out tonight. We have our purpose of meeting. I think our superintendent, Katie Grondin, are you going to explain the purpose, or do you want me to? The purpose is to explain the school board's approved budget that we approved 2 weeks ago, and present it to you tonight for your public vote. And then it will go off to, if it is approved, it will go off to whatever is approved. Hopefully not if. It will go off to our referendum vote, which is currently scheduled for November 5th. Anything else I should say? Okay. We can go ahead now and do the introduction of our board of directors. We're going to start on the end. Oh, I'll sorry, Doug. He was probably just
Doug Mumpus, Litchfield.
Matt Early, Wales.
Scott Fife, Wales.
Jill Bouchard, Litchfield.
Laura Clifford, Sabatis.
Diane Whalen, Sabatis.
Nicole Russell, Sabatis, and your chair. And now I will turn it over to our superintendent, Katie Grondin, who is also our secretary for the board.
Okay, yes, it is me. So welcome, everyone. Just out of curiosity, how many of you, this is your first time here? Okay, good. Well, welcome, welcome. And how many of you, this is a return? Great. Okay, good. So some of you probably could give the presentation tonight, and we'll make sure our new fellow person will also get the information. The first thing we're of order is we need to elect a moderator. So do I have a nomination for a moderator? Go ahead.
I think he's got it out there now.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Go ahead. Randy Greenwood. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Do I have any other nominations? All right, we'll close the nominations, and we need at least 3 people to go forward and vote for Randy Greenwood to be the moderator. I see 2. We need 1 more. Thank you. Okay, so it's secret ballot. Sorry, we have 3. Thank you very much. Okay, the ballot box is closed. We'll do the count. Okay, great. Thank you. So Randall Greenwood, Randy, you have been elected. Okay, you're ready. I, Randall Greenwood, do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability the duties incumbent on me as moderator of this annual budget meeting according to the Constitution and laws of the state, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that of this state, so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof. So help me God. And here's the pen. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for the vote of confidence tonight. I would ask if I could get the town clerks to come forward to be sworn in as ballot clerks. Before we begin, I just wanted to indicate that it is my intention to use the main moderator's manual, A Guide to Town Meeting, 7th edition, 2001, as our guide for tonight's meeting. Is there any objection? Hearing none, it's so ordered.
Excuse me, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to seek permission to allow non-resident administrators to speak this evening. Katie Grondin, Samantha Garnett Sias, Norma Jean Audette, Marco Aliberti, Jenny Hudner, Jan LaValle, Cherie Poole, Michaela Stevens, Shelley Mogul, Justin Kelleher, Mark Taylor, and Jim Palmer.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your paddles. Those opposed, that motion carries.
Thank you.
I'm waiting if you want me to do a presentation.
Yes, I'm going to recognize the superintendent to make a presentation on the budget.
Okay. So I'm going to do some of the summaries of what are the drivers. I'm going to start with those. So we'll go to the next slide. So in cost centers 1 through 9, and it is Article 11, right, Samantha? I want to make sure I'm right. So in what your handout is, Article 11 is not there in the paper, but it's on the slides, and it is in the articles that the warrant to call. But these are the big drivers in the budget. So the first one is our employees, right? We employ approximately 225 employees. And so when we talk about the salaries In those increases, it has an impact of approximately $192,399. We did add one new bus driver position, and I'm excited to announce that we are fully hired in our bus drivers. Today it was official, so we're excited that we do have all of our driver positions filled, and so that's good news. And then we had 2 current positions that went into the budget that we had that were paid through ESSER funds. So those federal funds that we received during COVID had been funding 2 positions, which was our middle school AP position and an elementary IT position. And so those funds have expired, so those positions are in this the general fund now. And so that's what the first driver is, an employee salary. The second driver is employee health benefit increases, was 12%. And so that added a $484,000 increase to the budget, was health benefits increase. The other was special education. So we have slots and students. So we have 19, in the budget is 19 slots for students for out-of-district placements. And in those, we did a 6% increase to those as recommended by the DOE. And so, and then looking at related services like OT, PT, and speech, that was an increase of $335,422. And then with maintenance, in our maintenance budget, there were increases for purchase services like inspection, security, water testing, our building insurances, and pest control. And that equated to $167,174. And then in transportation, we had increase in special ed transportation. And really this was putting those funds that we need for transportation in our general fund under transportation, and that was $163,658. We do contract with Gordon's Transportation to support our students who need specialized transportation to their locations. So you can see that the total budget increase was $1,059,000, which was a 4.91% increase. So that's the expenditures impact. And so now I'm going to talk about revenue. Right. So in revenue, first we get revenue from different sources that offset what do we need from taxes. The first are we account for $869,000 in other revenue sources, which is state agency clients, not stage, it's state agency clients. We get funding for students that are are categorized state agency clients. We get funding from child development services, laptop damage reimbursement, main care reimbursement. We use our fund balance to offset, and miscellaneous. Then we get a state allocation of revenue of $11,383,013. And so then what do we need to balance that expenditure cost? In order to receive the state allocation of $11,383,000, we're required to raise in our property taxes $6,281,940. And then we need an additional local allocation of property taxes of $4,103,000 to then have the revenue we need to offset the expenditures of $22,637,019. And then what is that impact on taxes? We've been showing this slide as we go. And so you can see that local taxes since the first budget meeting has been reduced by close to 18%. And for the towns, it's been close to 66% for Litchfield, 66% for Sabattis, and 72% for Wales. So you have this in front of you, the tax impact. So I think we're ready to go.
All right. We'll just start with a few housekeeping items. I will read an article. I will look for a motion. I will look for a second. We will then have discussion. Once we have an article that passes, we'll move to the next article, and we'll continue that process. When we get to Article 12. We will do a hand count on Article 12. Article 13 is the additional local. That will be a written ballot that is required by statute. Article 14, is that also a hand count? Thirteen is the only one for a hand count. Okay. So, all right. Before we begin on the process, do we have any questions?
Laura from Sabatis. I'd like to make a motion to move Article 13 to the front, to the beginning. And to help save some time, and not have to go through every single article as the majority of the people have been here before. So,
Okay. All right. In order to take something out of order, first, is there a second? Is there a second? It has been seconded to take an article out of order, which requires a 2/3 majority of those present in order to change the order. Is there any discussion?
I have some.
Go ahead.
So if by moving this article to the beginning, it will allow us not to have to go article by article, and where the superintendent has already provided a summary of the whole entire budget, and as many of you indicated earlier that you've been here before through it. I strongly encourage to move this forward, and then, depending on the outcome of that, we'd only have Article 14, and we would move along tonight.
All right. I'll just indicate that even though we take an item out of order, the other articles will still be voted on singularly and individually.
If Article 13 and then Article 14 is moved, we would still go back through all the rest of the articles.
The rest of the articles are the ones that allow for the expenditure to raise and appropriate. So we're going to go through them all. But I understand if you wanted to get to 13 to move things along, it may change the outcome. I'm not sure. But that's the motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion?
Nope.
All right. So I will call for the vote. If you're looking to move to right on to Article 13, please raise your paddles. 1, 2. And those opposed? All right, that did not receive a 2/3 majority. I had 10 in the affirmative, 12 in the negative. So that motion failed. All right. Article 1. To see what sum the RSU would be authorized to expend for regular instruction. School board recommends $7,547,261. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion carries. Article 2. To see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for special education. The school board recommends $4,978,561. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 3, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. School board recommends $0. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion carries. Article 4, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for other instruction. School board recommends $541,361. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 5, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The school board recommends $2,576,093. Motion, please.
So moved.
It has been
Second.
moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Article 6, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for system administration. The school board recommends $744,458. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion carries. Article 7, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for school administration. The school board recommends $1,107,286. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 8, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. The school board recommends $1,356,011. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 9, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. School board recommends $3,352,332. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion?
Evening. My name is Tom Wood. I'm from Litchfield. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Something that doesn't appear in Article 9, but is critically important to the towns, is that there's a cooperative agreement between Litchfield and RSU4 for the use of Kerry Ricker for emergencies, warming center, cooling center, and the like. And all of that requires proper maintenance of all the facilities so that during an emergency it's ready to go. And it's working great. And the cooperation between RSU4 and the town of Litchfield on this particular item is excellent. And so I think it's important for people to know that it's not just a schoolhouse, it's an emergency shelter for the citizens of the three towns.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 10, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends $433,656. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion carries. Article 11, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures. School board recommends $0. Motion, please.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion carries. Article 13. To see what sum the RSU will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the RSU will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15688.
Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry, but we have to do 12 first, I believe. Article 12. You said 13. Are you reading Article 12?
I'm reading Article 12.
Okay. You said Article 13.
Okay, I'm reading Article 12.
Thank you.
I will continue reading Article 12. The total appropriated by municipality from the town of Litchfield is $5,841,409.64. The total raised and RSU assessment by municipality for the town of Litchfield would be $2,846,489.66. Total for the town of Sabattis is $8,751,202.76. And the total raised and RSU assessment by the municipality of Sabattis would be $2,496,953.66. The total for the town of Wales would be $3,072,340.23. And the total to raise for the town of Wales would be $938,495.34. The total appropriation is $17,664,952.63, and the total to be raised is $6,281,938.66. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing no questions or discussion, I will call for the vote. Again, I will need to count your paddles. So when I ask for all those in favor, please raise your paddles and hold them high so I can get a good count. All those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. It was 25 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. That article passes. Article 13 will be a written ballot to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate in additional local funds. Recommend $4,103,065.03, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by $4,103,065.03, as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. The school board recommends $4,103,065.03, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by $4,103,065.03 due to inequities in the EPS funding formula, including but not limited to the regional labor market adjustment factor, student-teacher ratios, extra and co-curricular programs, and administrative costs. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Can you go to the mic? Can you run to the mic? I'm sorry. If you need help, I'll bring one to you.
We've got this card. This is the first part of that card. It doesn't tell the citizens to go vote November 5th. And how about all the people who already voted absentee? What happens then?
All right, the question was about the process, and I'm not sure who would be best to answer that. I can, if you want to take a stab at it, you can. If not, I can, but feel free. I will defer it to the board chair.
Well, I think we're planning on another card after tonight's vote regarding the vote being November 5th, and the amount that is approved this evening. And as for the absentee portion of the question, I would probably look to Randy or your town clerks. We did provide absentee ballots for those who have requested them, but maybe Sam or one of the town clerks can clarify that a little bit better.
Yeah, the absentee ballots cannot be collected until after tonight's meeting. So if the town clerks receive them for this, they can't accept them. They have to, I'm not sure if they tear them up, but they're not allowed to accept them until after this public budget meeting.
Right, and I'll just kind of tag onto that only for informational purposes only. And I know, and I can speak for Wales only because I was at a meeting last night where we talked about it. So anybody who has currently voted absentee, Wales is taking the position that they are sending absentee ballots for the RSU budget out, but they can't go out until after tonight's meeting. So if you have already voted in Wales, Wales will send you one automatically. I'm not sure if Sabattis or Litchfield, you would need to contact your town office and ask the clerk that question, but you can certainly request a ballot as of tomorrow morning in Sabattis and Litchfield at their next business hours of operation. Does that answer your question? All right. We're still on discussion stage. Is there any further discussion? This is going to be one of the quickest meetings we've had, I think. Seeing no discussion, what is the color of the ballot? We'll be voting with a blue raspberry ballot. Seeing no discussion, I will open the process for balloting. Please see your town clerk for a blue raspberry ballot, and we'll begin voting. Does anybody need assistance with voting? If so, please raise your hand. We'll have a ballot clerk come to you. Has everyone voted who wishes? I will declare the ballot box closed and we'll begin counting. Can I have your attention, please? I will say we have 31 total voters present. We had 31 ballots cast. Congratulations. There was 22 yes, 9 in the no. The motion carries. Article 14, to see what sum the RSU will authorize the school board to expend for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025 from the RSU's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, local funds for non-state funded school construction debt service, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. School board recommends $22,637,019. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. So this nearly concludes part one of a two-part process. As a reminder, the ratification of this will be on November 5th or earlier. Early voting is happening. Early voting, you can vote on this as well as all your other state and local issues at your town office in person now through Thursday, October 31st. So that is for in-person and absentee voting. And again, Election Day is November 5th. With no further business to come before us, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. This concludes this budget meeting, this annual budget meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you, everybody, for coming this evening.